Right, we'll have a little bit of music while we're waiting for people to come in. And when this is over, we'll start. So we've got a couple of minutes. Grab yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever you want. Or in my case, maybe a beer. But no, I am sober. How you doing? If anybody who rang in at the beginning of the show Saturday night and I was rude to, I apologise profusely. Sorry if I was rude. Do some rapping. That's the worst I've ever done. I'm assuming you can hear me all right, obviously over the music. Let's be technical, let's see if this works.
A man reaches an age where he doesn't.
Yeah, it fucking works. Yeah, it's been cooking today. The temperature's come down a bit. Cheers. Well, I'm guessing that's the music over and done with. We'll turn that up a bit. So, how are we? I was planning to do a live stream yesterday, but I felt rough getting over Saturday night. And I wanted to go on to the live to say, apologize. Apparently I was rough, I was rude, and I cut people off. And I shouldn't really have gone live because I'd had a beer. So I apologize. If you're the callers that I was rude to, I apologize. There you go. Takes a man to do it, but there you are. Anyway, apart from that, I'm off today. And I thought, fuck it, we'll just go live, see what happens. It seems, unfortunately, that yet again, the religion of peace has struck again. I want to show you something from an Arab. Not me, an Arab. So let's see if we can share this a second, and then you see what you think. Present, share screen, window. That man there. I'm hoping that it shares the volume. Right. Let's go full effort. Now, hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Right, no sound. Okay, how do I change this? Stop sharing. There's more than one way to share, by the way, so let's try again. Present, share screen. Facebook. Also, share tab, audio, share. We'll try again.
And let me say this in English so you can understand what I'm saying.
I have translation.
No, I know you have translation, but I just want to make sure you get it right. There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
How do you unpack that? If you're a lefty, what would you call him? Far right? I mean, it's a simple question, really, but this is a guy that says what we say. This is a guy that lives there. It is, you know, obviously incredibly bright, and he knows the crack. Now, obviously, there's people trying to set a narrative up that this is a good thing, that multiculturalism is great, and it's not. All right, diversity is nobody's strength, right? If you're trying to keep a breed of animal going and you mix it, then it loses the breed. So, and I'm just using animals. However, that's not to say that we don't like people. That's not the case. But we're just saying that if you did 1940s, 1950s, 1960s England, and then you looked at it today, you'd be looking at two different places. Now, if you had your choice to go back and live then, without all of this technology, would you do it? And I have to say that any of you say that yes, I would say think again, only for the fact that you're woefully ill prepared for that lifestyle. It's very pure, very simple, and you have to entertain yourself. And we don't do very well at that, but there is a reason for that. We've been trained to, I need to be entertained, pick this up. I'll look, see what mates are doing. I'll do, rather than the old days, we were like, fuck it, let's go out and look for the lads, see where they are, see where the bikes are, if you were still as a kid, or you would find out where somebody was, and you'd all go there. And that was the way it was. We knew which nights people were going to be out because they had a pattern, and they had a pattern because other people would know when they were out, and you'd know which clubs or pubs they would be in. And then it was great because sometimes they wouldn't be there, but you get talking to a stranger and you'd end up having a cracking note with a stranger. Ah, Pure Filth is in. Hello, Pure Filth. That's, pardon me, Peachy. She's not filth at all. She's lovely. She has a lovely voice. Anyway, so, yeah, and this guy is warning us about exactly what's coming. He's saying that basically because of our ignorance, and it's the ignorance of the woke, ignorance of the I want to be all-inclusive, ignorance of I'm fucking terrified of you calling me a name like racist, bigot, homophobe, and all the rest of it, so I'll just accept everything rather than you pick on me. These were the people that in the old days would have been bullied at school and didn't want to be bullied. It's amazing just how easy it is to shame people into stuff, to bully people into stuff, to indoctrinate people into stuff. And for me personally, I'm not ever wanting to have been part of the group. You may notice that I don't have any tattoos. Why? Didn't need them. Didn't want them. I don't have any earrings because when everybody was out getting an earring, I don't really need it, right? I don't smoke. When everybody started smoking, I was like, nah, I can't be fucked with that. I drink, obviously. Got to have a vice, but I never really was a joiner. I never wanted to be part of a team. Never wanted to be in the middle of something. I had a group of friends and I was in the middle of that, but and it was my being like that, not wanting or caring to fit in, that has luckily prepared me for where we are today. And I think that over the last, or especially I suppose the last 100 years, it's taught you that you need to rely on others. You need to be part of the pack. You need to be accepted. You need to go along with it, right? And people believe it. So they thought that they were weak on their own and you need to be together. Now, there is some merit to that, but I'll get to that. You don't have to follow the guy next to you and get a mullet hairdo because he has one. He may have had one for years, dafter, and he may be happy with it, right? But a mullet doesn't suit everybody. But if you remember, and some of you won't be old enough for this, when I was a kid, Fred Flintstone jeans came out. Now, did I want a picture of Fred Flintstone on one of my legs and Barney Rubble on the other? Did I fuck? Why? Because I didn't. Did I want to get out and get a flat top? No. Did I want to have an undercut? No. I just wasn't interested. And there were a few that didn't. But you always saw the kiddies at school that got on with everybody, that were the king shit, right? They were the ones that went with the latest thing. They had the latest high-tech, not high-tech, I had high-tech, not a good thing to have, by the way. They had the latest Nike, they had the latest Adidas, they had the bags, the coat, the whole thing, right? The parents had to work like fuck. They lived on a council estate there. The parents had to work their ass off to provide for these kids so they didn't get picked on or looked down at, right? My parents just told me, if you want it, you go fucking buy it yourself. Right? We came from a posh area, but he didn't give me any clothes or the latest, whatever it was, none of that, right? And it was amazing. What we're at the moment, right, is that the same people that would have been back at school doing that then are the same people now who need you to like them. They want to be liked. They want to be accepted. They don't want you to think bad of them. They're desperate. And by doing this, or by creating that, the system itself has got a load of very malleable people who will do things that are morally not right, just as long as you don't look at them in the wrong way. It's sad, but that's where we are. And this has gone on, and this has happened over many years. Many people, right? If you look at it, just gonna have a sip. Many people signed up for the First World War and the battalions, PALS battalions and stuff like that. Oh, hang on. Oh, we lost signal there. Some jiggery pokery or fuck nonsense happening with the fucking internet. Anyway, many people joined. Going to be over by Christmas, so it'll be a great adventure. Secondly, they also saw their mates doing it and felt that they had to do it because their mates were doing it. Do you remember that your mother would say, "Why did you do it?" "Oh, my mate was doing it." "So if you ran under a bus, would you do it?" That was what my mother used to say to me. And you go, "No." And you can't really argue that one. But many people did join up that perhaps if there was no social shaming, wouldn't have done it. All right. And they went through the meat grinder. But the point I'm trying to make here is what we have at the moment is nothing new, but the people have learned to harness people's guilt, people's worries, people's fears perfectly. There's you know, it is to the fine art. So you get programmed by the internet, you get programmed by the TV, you get programmed by your friends. And you'll always have that mouthy fucker in the middle of it that's pushing, you know, I would call it a Karen or something that shouts louder than everybody else. And nobody wants Karen to deride them for not, I don't know, ticking all the boxes. So they do. Anyway, oh, the bedsage, the ledge. How are you, love? Yes. I'll speak to you soon, but good things. Anyway, so there it is. I'm thinking, although it might be a bit early, yep, we've just gone from 300 and some odd down to 200 and some odd. Something is going on. 1 minute. Let's put that there. Yeah, our numbers went right up, and then the screen glitched, and then they went right back down again. I think there's some fuck shittery going on. I don't care. I mean, let's be honest. They tried to stop me completely streaming from my other thing, so why should I think that any moment they wouldn't fuck about with this? I have had, by the way, so if any of you know about computer stuff, they have run in fiber optic now to the gaff. I'm supposing that if I rang up my internet provider and said, could you change that, it would be quite a quick job. I'm assuming. I have no idea. Right, Peachy, what happened there? Because I'm getting a bit of mischief. Right, the numbers are going back up now. Yeah, it stopped. Right, why can't I hear this? Hello? Why can't I hear them? Right, bear with a second, because it's just everything else going wrong again. Just bear with. Just stay there a minute, mate. I'm just going to try and set this up, because it doesn't matter what you do with this system. You set it up before you actually go off, and no matter what, when you try to do that, it's like, no. Let's try again. Hang on a sec. Right. There you go. I can hear you. I feel sorry for the first callers because you've got to go through all sorts just to get on here. And I've set it up, and you all heard it at the beginning. I checked that it was set up because I was playing music, but the fucking first call, it's like, no, I'm going to cut you off. Anyway, how are you, bud? You are there? Oh, we're having troubles. Hello? We had somebody speaking a minute ago. Now we don't. All right. Let's try again. Right. Well, we're connected, so I can't understand it. I might call him back. Let's try that. Fucking hate this thing. Hello. Hello.
Hi there, Simon. It's me calling again from Norfolk.
Please tell me you weren't one of the first that rang in the other day.
No, I wasn't. I couldn't get through the other day. I see you're getting so popular. So many people want to speak to you these
Mate,
days.
whoever it was, I've got to apologise to personally. So apparently I was rude. So yeah, I don't like doing it.
Oh, we all get rude at times when we get a little bit frustrated.
I think mine
And
might
we
have
all
been a little bit.
understand it if we're friends with somebody. We understand when a friend gets a little bit rude with us. I do anyway.
I think mine might have been a bit alcohol though.
Probably.
Anyway, what's going on?
Well, one of the things I've heard in Norfolk, which isn't, I didn't think very much of, not too far from me, just the other side of Norwich.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, so several miles away from me. I saw it online. Is a village hall wanted to put up a flagpole.
Yeah.
To put the Union Jack up in a place called Claxton.
Mm-hmm.
And villagers in this place objected because they said, well, if they fly the Union flag in a Norfolk village, that could upset people who might want to move into the village. And I absolutely disgusted. I mean,
isn't that more reason to put the flag up?
It definitely would be for me. Definitely would be for me, Simon. If people don't respect the flag, they don't need to live here.
No, I mean, here's the thing, right? If you say, for instance, went off to say, I don't know, pick anywhere you want, Israel, Palestine, whatever, you would go there expecting that they would have their local flags up, right? And the national flag, because we used to have like the Somerset flag, didn't we? We still have, right? But we have, then we have the St. George's flag and we have the Union flag, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I went to somewhere that I was expecting to see this and they didn't have it, I'd be a bit baffled, really. It's a bit like if you went to Spain and they didn't do paella. You'd be like, hang on a fucking minute, what's on? It doesn't.
Or they're not going to fly the Spanish flag because it might upset tourists.
Or if they didn't fly the Spanish flag because the EU have demanded it, you'd be like, hang on a second, I've come here because I wanted to experience Spain, not because I want to experience whatever they've made now. People go on holiday because they want to see that culture and they expect it. And yet if somebody comes to England, they expect to see English culture or go to Wales and see Welsh culture. If you don't and you expect to see something else, you're a fucking idiot and you shouldn't have come. And moreover, you're a troublemaker.
I'm totally in agreement with everything you've just said, Simon.
Sorry, I'm just seeing one of the comments. GCHU comfortably logged on.
I mean, and of course, I think a lot of us were going to be in favour of Elon Musk and not hands are bloody useless. Elon is absolutely right when he says that useless is a racist. with that statement he made about white for people in Scotland. If he'd have turned round and said the Attorney General is hopeless, the Chief of Police is hopeless, everybody who's in the Scottish government is hopeless because they're not doing the proper job, he may have been making a proper point or an opinion, but to just turn around and say he doesn't want them there because they're white is obviously a racist statement. But I think I'm talking the obvious to the audience who tunes into show, Simon.
I'm thinking about asking people a question, right? Which is, it's not meant to catch anybody out. It's not meant to stitch anybody up. But say, for instance, right, I say to them, say, right, England now wants to go to Vietnam and it wants to go in there. It wants to stop the Vietnamese flying their flag. It wants to turn the Vietnamese to eating their particular kind of food. And in a short amount of time, what we intend to do is outbreed the Vietnamese. So basically it becomes more like Great Britain. All right, the plants are different, right? The weather's different. But basically speaking, we want to put a lot of Christian churches all over the place. Now, I don't know what religion they are, so I'm talking out of ignorance here, right? But we want to put a lot of Christian churches, and we'll be offended if you want to pray to anything else, right? And what we then want is our own law very quickly, and we'll want places where you can't go. So if I said that, right, to say, for instance, anybody in, say, for instance, the Village, the centre of Bristol, London, or whatever, they'd be like, hang on a minute, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. And I'd be right. Yep, I agree with you totally. Why would I want to change the demographics, the culture, the beauty of a people? Why would I want to change that? And they'd be like, well, you shouldn't. It's wrong. It's completely bad. And I'd be like, fine. But if we do it to us, that's okay. This is the point I would like to see what their argument would be.
I'm exactly with you, Simon, on that. And it's been pointed out this morning, or one of the other channels was on about why so many older people, boomers, getting involved in these riots and going on riots and that. And they're putting it down to all sorts of things about, how we've seen the country change. Well, we have seen the country change, and we've got used to most of those changes. We've got used to seeing a lot more black people on the streets, and a lot more people from other places on the streets, and a lot of the people who were at the St George's Day rally. I've been at all the free rallies, but the St George's Day rallies, I can remember somebody there basically pointing out, an old guy, of course. He was pointing out to the police and everything. Look, these are my grandchildren, and he was white, and his grandchildren were black, mixed race, and he was saying what lovely grandchildren he'd got and everything. But where we do, this is where I say where we do have a thing, is culture, and I'm obviously talking, which I talk a lot about, Islam, how Islam wants to take over this country. And I was speaking to Iranians in London who were actually protesting about that the government's not standing up to Iran. And because they were reminding us of what happened in Iran, how a beautiful, more or less liberal country, cosmopolitan, is turned into, we don't even have to say it, what Iran is today. And we, as older people, are seeing that happening in England. Fortunately for me, where I am in Norfolk, it's not happening close to me, and I hope it never, ever comes anywhere near me. But obviously, Tommy has seen it happen in Luton, and we've seen it happen in other times, and we hear reports not only of the grooming gangs and girls there, but of women being told not to walk past the mosque in a short skirt because that's un-Islamic, not to do this because it's un-Islamic. Tesco introducing halal meat and not telling everybody they're selling bloody halal meat and things like that. And the worst one recently is the police going on TV and talking to everybody and starting to talk in Arabic with what they call community leaders standing behind them. Don't they know that they just look like dogs to me? When I see a police chief sitting down with Islamic blokes behind him, or elders standing there, and he starts off by, greeting everybody in Arabic, I just think dog going woof, 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 because his master's told him to bark.
Like a puppet.
Yeah.
Well, you might not be able to see the screen. It probably should have shown up to you now, but this is the Iranian women in the 60s. Late 60s. There's one sat on the front of a Triumph Herald. Most of you won't know what a Herald is, but that could have been Western Supermare Beach. It could have been Breen, right? These women were bloody lovely looking, right? And they had lovely figures, right? And it's a shame that they couldn't show it off. And it went from that to all of a sudden covered to this. Now, tell me this, isn't it a shame when a woman can't show off her beauty without, a bit vulgar and all the rest of it? They looked bloody lovely, right? I'm gonna say it, right?
Well, for me, it's a big shame because I love looking at them.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking at them. This is something we were trained not to do because you oppress a woman. Fuck off. If she looks good, don't look like this. But at the end of the day, appreciate her and say, bloody hell, love, well done.
Going off on a slight tangent on that one, Simon. When I was a little boy, so I was a bit too young for it anyway, we had a lot of Americans around our town because they were an air base very close to us.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all gathered around the war memorial, and one of them suddenly goes to the other, says, they're coming. And what it was two girls who are now grandmothers in this town were coming down the street dressed in late 1950s or early 1960s fashion, looking absolutely, high heels on and looking absolutely gorgeous. And as they came down the street just in view, one of the guys gave out a hell of a wolf whistle that you could hear right across the street. And as they got a bit further down, they gave out another wolf whistle, and these guys were just sort of, caught up in
women did get embarrassed
under how beautiful these girls looked.
Women did get embarrassed a little bit about it, but they also knew that they hit the mark, right? It was right. I got it right today. The beehive just right. Okay, the dress is right, and these men appreciate the way I looked. And I think it's great to give appreciation to a woman. I've been past, when I was younger and fit and all the rest of it, I've been past women who flirted at me. And I got all red-faced, all right? But it made you feel good after. So, yeah, fuck it. That's where we are. But, I mean...
On very odd occasions, that did happen to me, and this same thing about being red-faced about it. But looking back, you sort of, wow, well, at least I was then looking... something that they approved of.
Yeah, so I mean that's what they want to get rid of, right? Now, the other thing is we used to have it's almost like social shaming. If you were too drunk, or if you were a bit of a degenerate, the community would frown upon you, and you didn't want that. And in some ways, it was better for people because they kept themselves to a better standard, which was more healthy for them, right?
Exactly.
In the 70s, there was one car in a family normally, and the work was more physical, and people were generally more fit. If you compare the picture of a seaside resort in the 70s to now, most of the people there weren't fat. Now I'm fat, right? I admit this, right? And many others are, right? I come from a family who they get to about 25, 30 and they hit the wall, right? As I did. But they would have been a lot fitter back in the day because they were doing something physical. And we don't. So, we get fat and we eat chip shit food because it's easier to feed ourselves with crap than it is to eat well. And that's a fact. And also, I don't know if you've noticed that the fresh food that you get goes off quicker.
I have noticed it goes off quicker on the thing about looking fat. Going back to the girls, I'm a little bit disappointed that when we see some of the school girls go past these days, they may look pretty, but they seem to me to be a lot fatter than when I was at school.
They were, and they are.
That the girls were slimmer and beautiful, and now the girls may be almost as beautiful or more, so dependent, but they're that much fatter. And I think, why have you made yourself go? You still look good, but why have you letting yourself get fat? And that fat is going to grow unless you do something about it. And what you got to do about it is a lot of exercise and be more strict with your diet, which is what back to where you were, Simon, with the how people are eating these days, and going for the easy options rather than the healthy meat and to veg. And they say that during the Second World War that people had, were on rations, and a lot of them had healthier than they are after the Second World War, because they just eating anything sort of, it's easier to go to McDonald's or whatever and get something rather than cook.
We've got somebody in the stream that can't understand, right, what we're trying to say, right? We notice the difference between school kids when we were kids and school kids now. Now, what the person of low IQ can't understand is that you can look at any age at a schoolgirl, as long as you're not looking at her in a sexual way. You are comparing her to your generation, and what are the differences, right? Doesn't mean you're a nonce.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean you're a pervert. And if that was your brief way of trying to shut people down, you really need to try harder. You need to think more. All right. Anyway, we'll crack on. Sorry. So how do you see people in the next 20 years? Because this is the one, isn't it?
Well, with that, I just hope that something comes in that people look to. I suppose the hope is that on the green agenda and that they may be more in favour of digging their own garden and planting food, planting vegetables and growing vegetables, and hopefully go down the route of a bit more exercise and eating more healthy. I hope that happens. My main fear, really, for the country is going back to the thing about how we go and
I've got to go back to this bloke because he doesn't get it, and I'm going to point him out. Actually, this one here. If you can't look at a young girl and see that she's pretty, there's something very wrong with you. The difference between looking at a person and seeing that they're attractive or pretty for their age or whatever, that's fine. It's when you look at them and think about them in a desiring way, like you want to do something, that's wrong. And if you can't work out the difference, you're thick.
Is that someone who calls himself Saxon at the end of the name?
Yeah, because you know what age that Saxons took prides, don't you?
Probably very young, I should imagine. I have been down to Sutton Hoo, I think I told you before. If you ever get the chance, Simon, Sutton Hoo is a fantastic place to go to. Where they found all the treasure in 1939, just as the Second World War was seen. They said it's almost like, it is like Tutankhamun. It shows how well advanced, really, the Saxon kingdom kingdoms were at that time. And one thing about the king in Sutton Hoo, Radwald, I think his name was, he got pressure on him from kings in the north to, go with these kings in the north and get on other ones who he was already friendly with. And his wife, the queen, said to him, if you turn your back on those who were, your allies, you will lose out. You have to be allied with those who you said you would stand with. So he stood and fought against the ones who were oppressing or who wanted to be the dominant masters, and they pushed them back. That's one of the sort of stories you get at Sutton Hoo, which I think is relevant to today, in that we all need to stand together against Islam, which is coming to us.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then I get to this is how I link this up. We've got like Nigel Farage, who Nigel Farage should say, Tommy Robinson done a fantastic job getting all these people together for a peaceful march in London on the 27th of July. Everybody was peaceful. There were people from all walks of life there. There were Iranians there. There were Jewish people there. There was an Egyptian who spoke from the stage. There were Christian people there, all sorts of different people speaking, all together, in that they wanted to unite the kingdom under a and lock him up.
We've got
And I
to
thought,
wait a
you
second, 'cause
absolute.
this has the stream has gone Pete Tong. 2 seconds. Stream keeps dropping out. Yeah, I know. This is not me this time. Apparently, Dafter said he's looked into it, and it's something to do with down detector or whatever. This is an internet thing all over, so it's not just me.
It might have been the name I just mentioned.
No, it was happening before that. But I want to explain to anybody with common sense, right? You can look at any age group and appreciate a person as either an ugly specimen or a better looking specimen, right? It doesn't mean that you have any lust, any desire, or anything like that. If you look at any age, that's, in my case, say for instance, if I looked at anybody under the age of 35, I'd start having a problem, all right? Because that's young enough, right? But
yeah, I'm older than you, Simon. So,
but I'll be honest, most of my exes were either 3 years or 7 years older than me, so that's how it worked. However, I could look right at my daughter and go, "That's an attractive girl," right? But I don't think anything else right now. And what we've been done, because we're worried about paedophilia, is that we're worried about talking about the obvious thing. And I think this is really important to talk about, actually. If you do not sexually desire that person, but you can compliment them and say, yeah, you've got a good-looking daughter, or if you're a woman, a good-looking son there. In the old days, you used to be able to say that without fear of anything come back. But now what we have here is a problem. We have a problem because people can't actually acknowledge the fact that different age groups are attractive, but you're not attracted to them. You know, they're healthy, they're fit, this is how it is, right? And if anybody has a problem with that, the problem is with them. And I think the problem that they have is that they might have thoughts that, hey, I don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, I personally myself prefer a woman who's about 40 at least, because I find experience and life experience and intelligence attractive more over the physical, right? That's how it is. But I was out with a mate earlier on, and he's 16 years my junior, right? And he was looking at the barmaids, which I couldn't look at, right? Because there was a different age, right? And I was like, you enjoying yourself? He went, yeah. I went, well, yeah, you are fucking just 30, so he's all right. We have to understand that just because there are nonces out there, right, and there are fucking some weird people, right, doesn't mean that you can't just look around and go, healthy person, attractive person, healthy person, attractive person. As long as you haven't got any sexual desire to want to do something to them, there's nothing wrong. People won't get that.
Well, I just see that Saxon still doesn't get it. He's on the fact, you're the one telling people to look at schoolgirls and not me.
We have, because of what's come out over, like the BBC people and stuff like that, it got to a frenzy. And I remember it in the 80s, actually, before that, where AIDS came out and everybody got to a frenzy where they thought everybody could possibly have AIDS, right? And I remember at different times, everybody thought somebody could be this, right? And then the pedophile things come out and you look at everybody with suspicion. Now, that's endemic of the society we live in. However, not everybody is a fucking wrong one, right? And it's horrible that we've got to think that way, but we do. Anyway, so have we got anything more from Klaus? Because bless him, he's doing his best. You probably find that Klaus is a lefty, and you'll probably find that Klaus is struggling with his own thoughts. Bless him.
Well, he calls himself Saxon. He might just have we all have difference. We're all not exactly the same, and he may just have a difference on that part of the subject and be with us on some of the other things. No idea, really.
No, at the end of the day, don't be paranoid, right? Because this is the group thing. Right, you need to settle in with the group. You need to appease the group, right? Now, everybody on the right fucking hates nonces, right? They do, but it doesn't mean that you're a fucking nonce because you can see somebody's healthy and all the rest of it. If you want to fuck them, there's something very wrong with you. But if you want to protect them and you're not interested in that, then that's normal. But obviously, Klaus has a problem with that because probably Klaus has some sort of desires of his own. Now, if that's the case, Klaus, you need to look into that.
That is basically it, Simon. I think I may come to ready to let somebody else come on because somebody else is probably waiting at the phone.
Well, we have 717 people on an unannounced live stream on a Monday afternoon. That's not bad, does? And especially the fact that we've got a really shitty signal. So bear with, by the way. If you're seeing us chopping in and out,
that is another thing too. How this government have got us now, we all need to keep together because we are deliberately trying to be manipulated. The ones who are on the 700, even Klaus, I would say, can see that, how we're being manipulated. It's all like every other sentence a few days ago was when they were talking about the riots was, can we mention Tommy Robinson? Can we put Tommy Robinson down? Now they've moved on from Tommy Robinson. It's well, if you've got somebody who's got a lot of money and they're in charge of a big company, like basically, so they're all trying to put down Elon Musk as if Elon Musk is the one who's in the wrong. When I would suggest that most people on here know that it's the Prime Minister, Yvette Cooper, of the whole flipping government, and especially Yusuf, whatever, useless as I call him in Scotland, who are the ones who are in the wrong. It's not Elon Musk at all, but they're trying to, the people who only listen to the BBC, because they're probably, if you've got a family and you're, at work in long hours and you come in absolutely exhausted and just put on the news and all you get is the news from the BBC, they'll try and convince you that Elon Musk is an evil man. But I say to that is Elon Musk bought Twitter. He wasn't the one who sold out for money. The ones who sold out for money were the left-wing woke people who were in charge of Twitter in the first place. As soon as Elon threw them the money, they said, give me the money, mate. Stuff my bloody principles. You can have Twitter. You can call it X. Give us the money. We'll retire to the Caribbean and drink pina coladas all day.
He's a globalist and a businessman. Anyway, I must get on because I really should let somebody else get in here because there's probably others.
Yeah, I'm hogging it now. Bye for now, Simon. I'll call again sometime. Bye for now.
Take it steady, mate. See you in a bit. Klaus asking Rev to pull up. Oh, bless him. Ah, the Welsh guy. How are we?
Okay.
Have you been waiting long?
How are you? No, I haven't been waiting long. I'd like to talk about this spat between Elon and Humza because I think there's an angle that we really need to...
Before we get into that,
Pardon?
Do you fancy doing this on your own while I find the facilities and spend a penny?
Go ahead, Simon.
Right, you crack on. Behave yourself. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay. Right. The one angle about this spat between Elon and Humza that really disturbs me is references, veiled or otherwise, to DMs. Now, we all know that Humza's a massive racist in public, and he's probably a massive racist when he's in private, and his DMs would probably prove that. But what worries me is that Elon may be potentially abusing his power to read people's private DMs. And you may say, oh, that's okay because it's Humza useless. Well, that's where the slippery slope begins. It's okay to cancel their bank accounts because they're the BNP. Oh, it's okay to restrict public protest because it's just Stop Oil. They always begin this slippery slope to totalitarianism by picking on a target that everyone can agree on is a wrong one. And then salami slice by salami slice, they broaden their targets. So first it's the BNP, then it's Just Stop Oil, then it's Nigel Farage, then it's Alex Jones, then it's Alex Belfield, then it's Paz 49, then it's PAP, then it's Rev, then it's you, then it's me, and finally it's everyone else. I'm not sure that Elon knows how to use the power responsibly. I'm not saying that it should go back to the old ways or there should be a new owner or whatever. I'm just saying.
Isn't he more of an edgelord?
It could be, yeah. But we can't behave like the left. We can't violate people's civil liberties in order to defend civil liberties, because it'll just undermine civil liberties further. Just as the left need to realize you can't fight fascism with fascism, because it'll only lead to yet more fascism. So I am worried that Elon isn't always able to use the enormous power that he has over X in a discreet and responsible manner.
But can you imagine having that and being as powerful and all the rest of it as him? Do you think that sometimes you might get it wrong?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. And I hope Hamza does take Elon to court, because if it does go to court, then his private DMs are in play. And it's a matter of not only legal discovery, but legitimate public interest. Are you more interested in
Elon's DMs or Hamza's?
Hamza's.
Right.
But, if it applies to Hamza, it should also apply to Elon as well, just to be fair. What I'm saying is I'm not comfortable with the thought of Elon Musk reading anyone's DMs, regardless of whether they're a bad egg or not. What's to stop Elon reading your DMs or my DMs? This is the problem. I'm not saying that Elon is. I'm just saying that the way he's been talking, he's been inferring that either he knows that Hamza's been even more racist in private than he has been in public, which would be an easy conclusion to deduce, or that he has actually accessed Hamza's account, possibly immorally, maybe even illegally, to make that determination. And this is where we can't fall into the trap of the left. We cannot abuse our power. That's what the left do. And if we start abusing our power, we'll become just like the left. And then what's the point? We've become what we've hated.
I don't hate the left. I'm just gutted that they act the way they do. Just having a quick look through. Got a bar of soap and do what the Bible says, Reverend. True. Right. Yeah. So, basically, I don't think anything's going to come out the Elon and Hamza racist. Yusuf, sorry, I get that one mixed up. I don't think anything will come from that. Anyway, how is Wales? Are you getting rid of your 20 mile an hour yet or not?
Wales is pretty quiet at the moment. To be honest with you, Elon, these five are getting you mixed up now.
Well, he's rich and powerful, and I drive a truck. There's a massive difference. Right.
To be honest with you, Red,
can everybody hear me all right, by the way? Because somebody's saying mic up. So let's just say, am I coming across loud enough? Or by the way, I turned the caller down a little bit because his phone line was very loud and the guy before wasn't. So yeah, we'll see what they say.
I mean, to be honest with you, Rev, your job is probably more important than Elon's, because he wouldn't be able to do his job without people like you. I think you are you are the foundation for the work of people like Elon.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people like you get enough credit for just doing a shift. You don't make a song and dance about it. You just do your job, get stuck in, get paid, try to enjoy what little time we have on this godforsaken rock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's people like you who keep the world running.
Well,
without people like you, there'd be no Elon Musk.
I think, I just enjoy doing what I do. Paz gets stuck in, right? 1 second. Rotten politics. He's gotten better and better and better. He's learned more about his craft. Not that he was bad in the first place. He was good then, but the way he puts it now and the way he understands what he's talking about, he understands more than me. So, yeah, he's good. Some of the others, and there's some new channels that are coming up that are quite impressive. So I think, I'm starting to watch.
Oh, have you heard the latest stunt that YouTube have pulled with Pap?
Do tell.
Well, I did suggest to Pap they should set up a separate live stream channel to protect his main channel and the reports on that, in case YouTube decide to.
Has he had his live streaming taken away?
Well, he set it up less than a week ago, and even though he's posted no content whatsoever on that channel, whether it's videos or messages, they banned him for hateful content and violating community guidelines.
What, Paz?
No, Pap.
Oh, right, Pap. What, they've banned his channel?
They banned his new live stream only channel.
What?
And hasn't even had a live stream yet or a video.
Oh, I'm just Jesus. What? I mean, the only thing I could think about was that he was putting something in the community chat and put something out there that they didn't like. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
I think the very fact that he set up a new channel dedicated for live streams probably constitutes in YouTube's collective consciousness a community violation in itself.
No, you're allowed to do it.
All,
I've got 5 channels. YouTube are in league with the police and the establishment. I thought you were going to say something that begins with L then. Yeah. But what have I got? I've got my channel, the main one, which you can't live stream. This one, Rev on a Rant, Simon Evans, Man Up. And then Dave's got his channel. And yeah, that's about it. All of them can live stream, all of them but the main one. It's just amazing, really, but there you are. Anyway, what I'm going to do is... I'm gonna get off and get somebody else on because
yeah, no problem.
I've got to get through.
I know I'm boring.
No, you're not, but I've got to get through them, right? And people usually want is me to do 5 minutes with each caller, but I just get carried away. So yeah,
so do I. But anyway, I'll let you go.
Thank you for standing in. All right.
Thank you.
See you in a bit. Right, let's see if anybody else wants to call in. Wow, a fucking lush day out there it is. But I tell you what, it was so hot this morning. I was like, oh, this is uncomfortable. I went out with a mate. Hello.
Si.
Yes.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Well, I'd say living the dream, but we're living something. What about yourself?
You look depressed as fuck, me old brother.
Oh, no, I'm just chilled out, mate. This is my usual sad sack face.
Right. So I got 2 things to say to you, my friend.
Go on.
And they come from the heart, right? So one thing is I subscribe to you because you were funny as fucking fuck with all the boys and all of that stuff, talking all this fucking stupid, you know what I mean, that we're living in right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Saturday night stream, my friend, was if it was a washing machine, it would be a whirlpool of depression. It wasn't enjoyable at all. And your streams have been going like that way a little bit. So the one thing I want to say to you is, as a brother and a friend, let's get back to having some fucking fun. Fuck all this fucking boring shit. I just had 40 minutes to try and call you, listening to that fucking asshole trying to rip my fucking brain apart. It's bollocks. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable.
In the early days, I used to do you remember when I ripped apart feminism and just ripped everything apart?
man, you were a fucking destroyer.
I loved it, right? That was my favorite. They were the best days, right? But I realized that my channel would have been taken off me. Then I'll lose the ability to speak to you. So it kind of fucked it up.
Yeah, but they're going to take your channel anyway, mate. So what's the point?
The idea being is to go as long as you can to let you know what's going on, right? Before it gets taken. That was the whole point.
Yeah, fair.
Right? So
fair, but we don't have to have 40 minutes of fucking the Antiques Roadshow Club who don't have anyone else to talk to, talking bollocks for the silvers.
See, the thing is, right, what I actually need is probably 2 or 3 phone-ins, right? 2 or 3 numbers, right? And somebody over there, right? That what they do is they would speak to you and go and find out what you're like, this is a lively cunt, get him on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You know, like a radio station that like preens the callers and shit like that.
The first guy, he always rings in, he's lovely, right? And
yeah, he's a nice guy, but he makes me want to get knives and wrists and shit like that.
The second guy is our Welsh guy, right? And we've had our ups and downs, bless us, right? Okay. And not going into that. Anyway, what I'd like is a fucking nut job, but somebody who knows where to stop. That's the hardest part.
For sure.
You know,
mate, I saw your face and there wasn't enough Thatchers in the fucking world to make you happy on Saturday night.
All of that jar was gone. All me fucks. Got them back. Do you know what? I was with somebody today and they said, do you know, this old dear came along and while I was working on the plumbing, I kept smacking my head. I was like, yeah. This old dear came along and she said, have you given any fucks out today? Perhaps you should throw some fucks out. And this person was like, and banged his head again. But if you're not sure, fire some fucks out. That's what you should do, right? And I learned that today.
Yeah, mate.
But
100%.
But yeah, so anyway, yeah. Now we need a bit of a laugh, right? We're all going to go to fucking hell and handbasket, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm on my 5-minute limit, mate. So I'm going to fuck off and let someone else have a go instead of taking over for fucking 50 minutes like a boring.
Tell him, fucking God, stick it in there. Right. Otherwise, if you're low on credit, I'll call you back. But anyway.
No, mate, it's all good. I'm going to lovely leave you. All I wanted to say is you were fucking mint as fucking back in the day. And I don't know what I saw on Saturday. So
I was fucking mangled. I was mangled tired. And I had a lot on my mind, actually. But some of that's relieved now. But anyway.
We could all see, mate. We could all see. And we're all worried about you. You know what I mean? You've got a lot of brothers and sisters in this community. So we're all there for you, my friend.
Do you know, you're not the only person to say it. I got a text. Somebody said to me, said, you look really frustrated. So I don't know. I don't know how I looked.
You were either going to go to sleep or go off on one.
By the way, once I finished, you're going to love this, right? Once I finished, I fell asleep in his chair and I woke up with my neighbour and he was so much more fucking rinsed, right, than me. Absolutely wankered that he sat there and went, I love you. Right, you know that, right? I want to cuddle, right? And he shook me hand fucking 18 times, cuddled me 3 times, and he's not always like that. Oh, fuck it. You're really good, I love you.
But this is a beautiful thing about neighbours, isn't it? Like, my neighbour knocked on my door the other day and just dropped me a fucking 18-pack of Stella, and he went, that's for you. And I went, what for? He went, you put me bins out. I'm like, I've been doing it for 8 years, mate. You know what I mean? And suddenly he's realised that,
hang on a second.
You know, helping people and community is fucking important. And it is important. It's
but how many cans? 10 cans divided by 18 years. 18 cans?
18 cans by 8 years. So basically about a can a year.
Right, okay. So if we could break that down to a month, let me show you what he just give you, right? Watch this.
Yeah, he's taking the piss. I should have knocked him out.
No, but seriously, at least he acknowledged it. You know what I mean?
No, he did. Yeah. So my neighbour's a tramper. So he's gone. You know what I mean? He fills up all the fucking bins like a fucking wanker, and then he fucks off trucking around like fucking that thing out of fucking Pigeon Street.
Oh, long distance, Clara.
Yeah. I think in a dress he'd probably fit that description.
Yep. Well, if he's a bit like that, enjoy. But
no, he's going to say he's a proper bloke. No, he's a proper bloke. I'm just taking the piss out of him. He's a fucking lovely lad, but he treats this place a little bit like fucking what's it called? Centre Parks at fucking weekends. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, look, I'm going to get on and get somebody else on. Now, by the way, carry on monitoring. I take feedback. I do. It's not like the fucking stars here where your feedback get you fucking in trouble. You crack on.
It's all right, mate. We've talked enough today that we're both going to the Starmer Gulag. You know what I mean?
Love. I'm reckoning, right? Being it is a new prison. We'll be all
Fuck
right.
this noise. We've had a laugh. Get someone else on who's going to have a laugh as well. Fuck these fucking Whirlpool fucking washing machines. They're fucking depression.
All right, lovely. You take a steady,
Yeah,
all right?
try.
Bye, bye.
All right.
Do you know, there's part of me that's thinking about phoning up, what's his name? Daniel Bostock. Hello.
Hello, Simon. How are you?
How you doing? I'm okay.
I'm good. This is Neo Rocks. That's my channel name.
What's it called?
It's Neo Rocks.
Neo Rocks. Right, okay.
Yeah. I would just like to say, it's insane what's going on at the moment, but you're one of those voices within the insanity that you can hold on to a little bit.
Insanity, right? They would say that we're insane and that they're normal. That's the madness of it all, isn't it?
It's, you know, I'm so tired of it all. I've watched so much happen on YouTube, and one of the young guys that got arrested in London when the Met Police came down hard, he was only a young guy, and he sounded absolutely terrified when they were arresting everybody. And he was going, oh my God, I've got a whole live stream. I can prove I haven't done anything wrong. He was so terrified. And then you see it up and down the country, but there's nothing like the Stasi Met Police that come out. And I think that's what triggered more of the riots, because of the way the Met Police reacted that night.
Do you know what? This system of fear, they go after the people that are scared. And they make examples out of people, obviously. And there are people that say and do some what will be some you know, borderline shite nowadays, right? That was completely normal about 10 years, all right? I mean, years and years ago, right? If you say, for instance, during the 60s, gone down and visited, say, for instance, a riot going on in Great Britain, whatever it was, and you managed to get that out there, which you'd struggle because there was no internet, right? But if you did, you wouldn't be bollocked for it. I mean, if you got it to the media, you might get a Pulitzer Prize, right? Or whatever they call it, right? But if you not thought about the deeper side of why he wants you to stop videoing riots?
Because they want to be able to control it all like they used to.
Well, it's because
if you think back in the day, we didn't have the internet and we didn't have all that. So we only knew what they wanted us to know.
Yeah. But also, if nobody's showing you videos of riots in their area, then the average person can believe that things are going along okay. But if everywhere they turn, there's a riot here, a riot there, a riot wherever it is, they can show that the government's losing control and that the people have had enough. And that's the narrative they want to stop. So what they want to do is make sure that if you put the information out there that what's really going on, you'll get arrested. Now, this is nothing different to communism, fascism. You don't go against the system. You don't fight back against the system. You don't paint the system in a bad light. Much like the, I think it was the, what's it called? Not a treaty. It's the Barcelona Declaration, the Marrakesh. How we had to paint Islam in a great light. Now, if we're painting Islam as being dangerous, problematic, or whatever, right? That then goes against what we're allowed to do. Right. If we're saying that the government's lost control because massive immigration and all we're getting now is trouble, that's a problem. And didn't the last government bring about a law that says that painting the government in a bad light is a criminal offense? Now, how close to communist Russia are we?
I think we're very, very close. I haven't dared go on X since all this kicked off. I mean, I could never predict it was going to end up where it is, but I'm one of these people. My mouth goes before my brain, and I tend to say it as I see it. So I'm going to end up getting banged up for it.
Well, I don't think you're going to be on your own.
No, that is true. I'll be in good company.
I think there's going to be a fair few of us out there.
And at the end of the day, Elon Musk is not a bad guy. You know, I never used to really know anything about him. But I started looking into him when he took over X. And slowly but surely, the guy is waking up to what's really going on. And I think his big eye-opener was when he bought Twitter. You know, and he saw... I mean, he can read direct messages because you agree to all of that in the terms.
True. So, I'll ask you a few questions. Do you think that, say, for instance, Joe Rogan's legit?
I think Joe Rogan is legit. I would say 95% of the time.
What's the other guy with the long hair that used to date Katy Perry?
Russell Brand.
What do you think about him?
He seems to be talking a lot of sense, but I don't know because I've always had a personal bias against him. So I never really liked him before. But like, what do you think about Tommy Robinson?
What do you want me to tell you?
No. Do you think? No, I don't want you to tell. I'm asking you what your opinion of him, because I went by the mainstream narrative to start with, and then I started looking into it with everything that was coming up, and I started actually listening, because of course I remember the English Defence League things coming up on Facebook and stuff, and I remember I agreed with like most of it. So, and then all of a sudden he disappeared and he was so demonized, like he's a thug, he's this, he's that. And because I never followed anything back then, I never took any notice.
Right.
But I had the same mindset as the average non-knowing person of what's going on.
Right. There's a lot of people in the comments that aren't that impressed by him. I will simply say that Tommy is a stepping stone. If you are not awake, then he will let you know about what's going on with the grooming gangs, what's going on about demographics and that kind of stuff, and that would be good, right? That he is good at. He is a wild card. He is he's as hard to control, and he'll admit this, as you can be. If there's going to be a fight, he wants to be the first one into it, right? He really loves it, right?
I think he used to be like that.
No, I've been around him, right? And
oh, okay,
right, he loves a fight, right? But he can't have a fight nowadays because of reasons, right? But generally speaking, you know, the man that's his natural way. He's very learned now on Islam. He can teach you all the stuff about Islam, but he doesn't. He talks about Islam only. He won't talk about Israel. He won't condemn Israel. All right. He doesn't condemn Zionism. Right. And this is a problem to other people who have moved on from that first level and have learned more. Now, let me know in the comments if I'm going wrong here, right? Because there are many who, like me, can't stand Zionism, right? Don't like it, right? That's not that I'm anti-Jew. Let's understand each other, right? There's a very small...
I've got to be honest, I don't understand Zionism. I don't understand it. It's not something I've ever looked into.
Well,
it's never, until recently, it's never come up.
So let's get this right. Are you allowed a homeland for you and your people where you can kick everybody else out?
Yes.
Right. So Great Britain, a homeland for you and your people, and we can kick every other colour out.
Oh no!
Right.
No.
Now listen. By the way, I don't want that. Right. But have you heard what Israel's doing?
No.
Need to look into that, right? Also look into what they did to the Ethiopian Jews. That's quite important. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Now, what Israel it stands for is giving the Jewish people. Now, before we gave it to them during the First World War, I think it was the First World War, we were going to give it to the Islam, and then we were going to give it to the Jews, and we were just trying to buy both sides so they would help us, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
do you understand anything about Judaism that says that they need to walk the earth without a homeland until their man comes back? Because that's their belief, right? So
Okay. No, I didn't know that.
well, this is all important, right?
Yeah.
So the original Jews believed that they had to walk the earth, whatever. Now, during their time before the First World War, during the First World War and after the First World War in Europe, they believed they were being persecuted and started to head back to a place that they saw that they could all converge on. I'm hoping I'm getting this right. And it was at that time they wanted a homeland for their people, right? Now, after Hitler did what he did, now we're not going to go into numbers, right? Just at this particular time, right? But after, because let's be fair, they weren't the only people caught up in the melee. There were Russian POWs.
No.
They were pikeys or traveling people, right?
Gypsies, yeah.
Well, I can say this because I've got gypsy blood.
Disabled.
Right? All sorts of people that didn't fit the narrative, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
you also have to look into how many countries they got kicked out of, right? I don't know why, right? But it was 109 countries, right? I have no idea why.
Right.
Well, I can't answer the reasons why, but this was before anti-Semitism and stuff like this. So somebody would need to obviously bring that up exactly why that happened. But this is why they felt they needed their own homeland. Now, something else that might be of interest to you, right? Have you heard of the Samsung project or Samsung, whatever it is? Basically, what it is, it's they have nuclear weapons now, right? Now, they don't, like us, protect themselves by, say, for instance, we've got, it'll come to me in a minute, we have a nuclear program. And the idea is if anybody strikes us, then we retaliate to them, right? That's how it works, right? Makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If somebody in the Middle East attacks them, they will launch on everybody. And the theory being, you now have to protect us because we're small, right? You have to protect us because if that person over there launches on me and I think we're going to get wiped out, I'm going to wipe all of you out. That's their project. Now, that's surely not right, is it?
No, totally not.
Did you realize that during our UN, us being part of the United Nations, right? You've heard of resolutions, haven't you?
Yes.
Right. Now, if we were to break a resolution, we get hauled over the coals, don't we?
Yes.
Right. Roughly, they break about 50 a year. All right. And nobody says a damn thing.
Bloody hell.
So what happens is people start to get annoyed and pissy with them, right? And then that's blamed on anti-Semitism when it's not. It's just about, look, love, if we're all going to live by the same rules, we live by the same rules. There's no difference.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I don't believe that physically, okay, let's go with physical.
Mm-hmm.
Physically speaking, there's any difference between me, a Jew, a Hindu, or anything else. I think we're all the same, right? Physically, right? All right, we might have certain differences in color. Some might have a different shaped nose or whatever it is. But generally speaking, I think we're all fucking human beings, right?
We all believe the same.
If you believe that you're chosen and that nobody else is, you might start thinking of people differently. And that's the problem, right? Now, there are not just Israel, not just Judaism, but Islam. All of them are taught to look at us in a different fashion. Now, Christianity says you look at other human beings as you would look at yourself, right? There is no difference, right? Okay. Yeah. And I'm pretty fucking sure the Sikh community feel that way because the Sikhs always pile in and try and help every fucker, right? in times of emergency.
Yeah.
Right. But there are others which are conceived to be different. Why? I don't know. Right. I can't answer that. Right. Because I believe that we're all the
Yeah.
same. Right. I have to say that also for legal
Yeah.
reasons, but I actually truly believe that deep down, when it comes to it, say for instance, all of us were in a hole where we had to get ourselves out, right? I believe that people would put their
Yeah.
religions and stuff aside to get themselves out of the shit, and then after that, go back to their religions, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Our biggest problem at the moment is there are people of a certain demographic that hold power over others.
Yeah.
So I think you need to go and start looking at stuff. There may be people in here that might point the lady in the right direction. I think I've done enough right now. I think I've said enough.
I'm a lady. Oh, bless you. I'm a lady, don't you know?
Well, quite, my dear. But I have said, I think, enough. But what you want to look into is early banking, early globalism, stuff like that. JFK to 9/11 would be your best start. All right.
Yeah.
Everything's a rich man's trick, because at the end of the day, it isn't all one demographic. And this is the point I'm trying to make. No one demographic could do everything. Every person underneath them has to be susceptible or corrupted or something, right? Otherwise, it just simply wouldn't happen, right? Now, there's very rich families, like somebody said, the Rothschilds here. You've got, is it the Medicis? I can't remember. But there are very many families like the Astors. What's the other one? Rockefellers.
Bilderberg.
No, that's a group. Well, we'll get to that in a second. JP Morgan, and many others, right? Now, the Bilderberg group is something completely different, right? And that was brought about early doors, probably 80s, I think, early 80s. Margaret Thatcher was in it. Every other prime minister we've had since were in it, right? Now, this is a group of very influential people that decide the direction that the world is going to go in. Do you not find that biblically arrogant? They decide what we're going to do. They are the puppet masters, and we will fall in line no matter what, right? You should also look into BlackRock and look who is behind that, right? But BlackRock were the group that decides they're going to give you a rating, right? So did you ever wonder why it was that people like, what's the name of the fucking Netflix and other people like that were doing stuff, putting up stuff, content, which was quite disgusting to us lot, and yet they kept putting it out even though their ratings were going down? Did you not think that was strange?
Yes.
Did you look at when the Haagen-Dazs started going with ridiculous shit and people were like, fuck it, I'm not buying that stuff anymore? Yeah. But yet they still did it. Did you ever wonder why?
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, no, I have. Yes, I have wondered why, but I don't know,
Right. Okay. What it is their company is assessed by a group, right, for their financial viability, how they're going to go forward, how all the rest of it, right? And these people are the people that are the mile marker that set the standard, if you like. Okay. And what happens is if you don't go along with the woke agenda, if you don't go along with the LGBT, if you don't go along with stuff that would really turn the stomach of the average person,
so all the DEI stuff,
all sorts of terrible stuff, right? But if you don't do it, what they'll do is they'll lower your stock interests on the market, right? So you either lose viewers, which cost you financially, or they will punish you and say your financial interests are less than they are. Say, for instance, your company's not worth so much because it's not doing this or doing that. So it's cool. Somebody's put it here as an ESG score, right? I don't know what it is, right? But what I do know is that these people have the ability to make or break a company, and they'll go in, they'll say, you need to be doing this much woke, this much this much transgender, this much bi, and if you're not, we will financially hurt you. So that's why people were going, why is it that Netflix is putting out teeny or tweenies or whatever it was and all this other stuff, which nobody wanted, and people were turning off? That's financial suicide. And we were, doesn't make any sense. And all it was that thing. They had to. Bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a way to get everybody to come into line.
No, it's a way for brainwashing, right? Here's a thought for you, right? Do you believe that TV and the internet has been used to change our view of the world as we see it?
Yes.
Right? Why would somebody want to change our view of the world?
Because they want to set their own agenda.
Okay. Would their own agenda financially benefit them?
Oh, absolutely.
So by setting, say for instance, Google, right? Now, at the time, go back about 6-7 years ago, there was an Irish woman who was in charge of Google over in Ireland, right? And she said, it's our ambition and our desire to change people's perspective of reality.
Wow.
YouTube was meant to be somewhere where we looked at videos and laughed or sang along or whatever, right? And this is why they started changing what you saw, how you saw it. And also they started shadow banning. You've heard of that, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah.
So basically my video content won't be as prevalent as, say, for instance, somebody who they agree with the values of, right? I mean, they've stopped me live streaming, though I've committed no sins, because they just are trying to limit my impact, because I was getting, and if you have a look at the views here on a Sunday, on a Monday, I'm getting more views a lot of the time than the mainstream media. And this is out of 13,000 thing channel. So they realize that people aren't buying their shit anymore. But what they need to do is stop other people who are basically saying how they feel, what they think, their view of reality, which is, you know, how they see it, getting out there. They need to tell you that multiculturalism is our strength, right? They need to tell you that, like, we need an ID, that we should go cashless, that we need to get the latest vaccine, that we need to do all these things. They want you to believe that because they make a huge sum of money out of it. Do you realize that during the pandemic, some of the biggest millionaires become billionaires over that short period of time?
Oh, absolutely. I woke up during the pandemic. I started watching American politics and got very into it. And of course, the backlash from that comes here.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started seeing things here, and I'm like, okay, this is just going to get worse.
Just asking a friend something a minute. Yeah, things are going to get worse, right? The life that you knew is not the life that we're going to carry on with. But you got to think to yourself, the life we led for many years was a life that was given to us through they cleansed it. Can you remember back in the 70s and the 80s? They started saying, we have not shown you these pictures because we think it's too distressing. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
So you've already decided for us that I can't be the decider of what I can and can't see. And that's where it started.
Yeah. Well, if you remember back in the day, they had complete control because they had the main channels. There was 3, then there was 4, then there was 5.
I remember 3. ITV, no, it was BBC, BBC 2 and ITV, wasn't it? And then Channel 4 come out. Was it 83 or 82?
I don't know. And then you had Channel 5 come up, didn't you?
90s, wasn't it? That came out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I think I've given you enough to be going on with now. Now, people, shall we wrap this?
Absolutely.
Shall we wrap this all up now and I'll go and get a pint somewhere, or do you need to carry on? Let's see what the people say. But anyway, my love, for you, I think that I've warped your brain enough. I'm really sorry. No,
not at all. No, it's given me food for thought because obviously there's so much out there. You can miss so much.
Try to dig up your common sense of the past and stick with it. It would be your biggest ally.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I've just got to be careful about not vocalizing things as much as I used to.
No, but what you're going to do is you'll speak to people that will start saying stuff and you'll be like, fucking yes, right on. At that point, touch base with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. Hi to everybody in the audience, and cheers, guys, and have a lovely afternoon.
All right, lovely. See you in a bit.
Take care.
Lovely woman. You never know when to push the button. You know what I mean? I hope I didn't cut her off too much. Well, yes. Carry on. This is better. This is a better one. Yeah, I know. I'm sober. Look, I apologize when I do a drunk one, but at the end of the day, people still reckon that some of the, it depends on which way you are, right? If you're more down the intellect road, you're going to find it hard work when I'm drunk. But if you're more of a shits and giggles kind of a person, they find the drunk ones better. Right, 1 second. How can I come and get on a message on WhatsApp through Germany? The status is sending remains in TikTok. 1 second. I suppose better look at this. Bear with. Update. Oh, it would be, wouldn't it? Oh, fuck me, not now. Right, so it wants me to update. Actually, tell it to fuck off. Not now. Get started. No. Right, I can't see it. What a great call. Do one on mushrooms. I have a friend, by the way, about mushrooms. Right. Never done them himself. Right. He's into all these different types of mushrooms. Legal, illegal. He doesn't, he studies them. He doesn't harvest them or anything like that. He just walks around the woods and sees them and stuff like that. And he's right into it. Now, I'm led to believe that in the old days, so this would be witchcraft and stuff like that, they used mushrooms to deal with mental health in very small doses. I think they call it now microdosing, right? And this was the way they used to deal with mental health, depression, anxiety, that kind of stuff. Of course, we can't recommend them now because that would be illegal, wouldn't it? In the same way that, in the old days, they would use things like turmeric to bring down inflammation and stuff. Turns out that at the 1920s and times like this, that the Rockefellers realized that you couldn't patent nature, so you had to make it yourself, which is why they rubbished all the natural herbal remedies. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Oh, all right, but watching your YouTube at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a theory on things.
Go on.
Right. Big thing happened in 1989.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if you can remember what. I'm an ex-serviceman. 70s, 80s, old school. Well, at the minute, I'm watching my country go to hell in a handcart.
Yes.
I grew up, left school at 15.
I'm just trying to think of 89. But I'm probably thinking 88 was the Marchioness disaster down the Thames.
No, it was the Berlin Wall.
Oh, right, when that fell down.
Well, when it come down.
It didn't just do by itself. But do you not think
No, literally, no.
But do you not think that was the week people had had enough and they went, fuck, kill me. I don't care.
I don't know, because when you look at it, they couldn't beat the West militarily, and conventionally. And there's one way to do it is from within. It would take a long time.
But that's what they decided they were going to bring us down with, not what they brought themselves down with. Right?
No.
You've heard Yuri Bezmenov, haven't you?
No. This is just some of my own theory. I mean, I spent 3 years in the Cold War in Germany.
Before you go any further,
things were.
After this, before you go any further, after this, go and look at Yuri Bezmenov. You'll love it.
Right. I think I will do. But it's just the way things go. I mean, my daughter had an exchange early 90s with a student from the Czech Republic. And out of the blue, a few months later, she went to visit the family of the student, stayed with them, and she was horrified. It was third world, telephone poles hanging over, young kiddie. We gave her a couple of bob, and she was embarrassed by that. Anyway, long story short, they come to visit us out the blue one day in an old Skoda. The whole lot, they had a tiny little Primus stove, and they lived for a month touring round. Now, these people, the friendship went on for a few years. They now have visited most countries and got all these courses. They've moved on fantastic, which is a good thing. Their horizons have broadened. But we're seeing the West decay, and they are Czech Republic, Poland, that got level heads, they're doing better. But I think it's been like a maggot in an apple in the West, eating it all the way.
Why do you think that Poland's done better than us?
Well, they're saying no, aren't they?
I'll tell you why. They kept hold of their religion and they stuck by the tenets of their
Exactly,
religion.
yes. Absolutely. You see, I just look at a lot of things. Like I said, I had a tough old time as a kid. And my dad was Victorian. I was never a big lad. He sent me boxing at the age of 12 just because he thought I'd get bullied.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't need to worry about that because I was a little shit. I could hold my own. But that was how I was brought up. The only thing I've ever done wrong in my life, and it's still with me to this day, scrumping apples, and I got done.
Really? They did you for that? Oh, fuck me. It was 15, so common back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, 15 shilling, and I can still feel my ass glowing now off his leather belt.
Have that?
Boy, did I get a whipping.
But how the fuck? Who grassed you up?
No, what it was, I was brought up so strict. I mean, it's to the point. I mean, when I went to Northern Ireland, there were a couple of tours in the 70s. Wasn't pretty. When I was courting a young girl who were married, when I come home on leave,
mm-hmm.
and I introduced her to the family. I got back home, my dad says, "Nice girl, lad. She one of us?" I said, "Well, what the bloody hell's one of us?" Because it never bothered me. Never bothered. My mum, Irish descent, Catholic.
Yeah.
But she renounced it because she said it was awful. She went through a nun's school, whatever it was.
Yeah, like the Magdalene Laundry kind of shit.
Exactly. I was, I mean, she's like second or third generation English. Half of them went to America and Australia, but some stayed in Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've grew up with all this sort of bigotry, if you like. So it made me a bit more level-headed. I've seen things.
Is it bigotry or tribal?
A tribal and bigotry. I'd say it's both.
When you hate somebody purely because they're different.
I don't hate anyone, mate.
No, but what I'm saying is if somebody hates somebody purely because of their difference, that's bigotry, right? If somebody's wary about somebody else because they're different and they don't know how to deal with that, that's tribal, right? Now, going back to the fall of the Cold War, right? You remember the arms race between Russia and the West, basically, because Russia was against us, the Americans.
Well, yeah, because the Cuban Missile Crisis, all that. I grew up with that.
Right. Well, you'll remember the weekend that I'm guessing you remember the weekend where everybody thought on Friday you might not see Monday.
Oh, yes. Well, that was early 80s as well, wasn't it?
Well, no,
what was it called?
84 we got so close because...
Fallout or some of that documentary thing.
Well, the fallout came from the Ukraine, right, after Chernobyl.
Oh,
right?
Chernobyl. Yeah.
But we did NATO did a war pretend operation where all that happens is your different vehicles go out as signalers, right, and start reporting back. Well, Russia was so stressed, so believing that we were going to launch on them, that at that point, they believed that an incoming missile was coming. And the guy behind the counter was told to launch, but he didn't, luckily.
Yeah, he saved the world, that boy.
Yeah, but he also went out as a poor bloke because they stripped him of everything. However, when he went out and gave speeches and stuff, I think he's made some money out of that. But I digress.
He settled in America, didn't he, in the end?
Not sure. I think probably. But do you remember Gorbachev?
Oh, yes. Right. It was a decent kind of bloke, I suppose.
But a new thinker. If you remember, he was about 20 or 30 years younger than the Politburo, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's come along and he said, we can't afford to keep up the arms race with the Americans, right? Because whereas the Russians were real and said, we're running out of bank, the Americans were funded, so they didn't, right? And the Americans had the petrodollar, right? So they wanted this glasnost, if you remember it, openness, perestroika, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
right? And if you remember, there was Gorbachev one side, Reagan the other, and Gorbachev said, trust but verify. Right, that was his thing. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, if there hadn't been Star Wars, these two would have decommissioned down to next to nothing. But because of Star Wars, he kept his stuff going. Shortly after that, they realized that the USSR was failing. And slowly but surely, obviously, you'd had Tito he died.
Yeah, yeah.
So Yugoslavia was now going all sorts of places. Right?
Ceausescu and all them.
Right. Yeah. Do you remember Happy Christmas?
Oh, yeah.
1995. Anyway, but yeah, it fell apart basically. And there are people now that are over in what used to be communist countries that would love to go back to it. They were better off.
Well, they knew what they had, and to them it was stability, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Now, somebody's put here, war is a racket. War is a racket. Yeah. You want to look at the book written by Snedley, I think Snedley Butler. He wrote the book about war being a racket. Anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so the Berlin Wall came down because it was one of the last parts of communism to be failing. The rest were already on the way. And the message hadn't been relayed that they were going to open the doors the next day. But the guy had said it like it was going to happen that night, and that was it. Within a fucking flurry, they'd all
they preempted it, didn't it? Yeah.
And the guys on the gate said, "We can't fire on all these people," so they just opened the gates. But that is my very point: the power of the people. If everybody had come out right to stand up for what was right, we wouldn't be having these problems.
Well, you see, it's like the old thing. I can remember the Maggie days. I worked for a big truck company. Not long after leaving the army, got a mortgage. Every time you saw the big workshop convener come through, you go, "Oh, bloody hell, we're going to be on strike."
But you remember
you knew you're going to struggle pay.
The strikes of the 70s.
The 80s as well.
Yeah.
70s. It's what prompted me to join the army, to be honest. I was sick of it. I joined in 75. I only did 6 years. Then.
Sorry.
Well, it's okay, mate. It was bloody muskets when I was in. But I tell you what, we were bloody good soldiers. I'm not decrying these young lads now. Different philosophy, mindset.
You boys were beaten back then, right? I mean, what?
God,
you just
it
come
was
back from
brutal,
Aden,
mate.
Come back from Aden, and they got chucked into Ireland, which was brutal.
Yeah. Well, I'd done nearly 3 years conventional stuff in Germany. This is why I'm on about. We used to have these things called active edges. You have all your kit packed in a locker. You don't touch it. Full CFO, they called it.
Mm-hmm.
All your gear. The alarm would go 3 a.m. Horrible noise. Over you'd go, kit on. Sometimes it was to see how quick your reaction was, and you were stood down. But you'd get, because we were mechanised, all the APCs on the square, all the kit. When you drew ammunition, the only time you knew it wasn't for real was when it was blank.
Mm.
And then you'd all CO, stand down, well done. Sometimes they go, right, mount up. You'd be gone for 6 bloody weeks. And it was amazing and awful.
And you got 5 seconds to tell your Sharon or your Karen that I'm off, love. Sorry about this, sweet. We're off.
Oh, well, I lived in. I was a Buckshee then, a private.
Did you ever meet the Rock? Go over on the Rock? Because
Gibraltar?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
I was a proper line regiment, old school. I was in a Northwest County regiment. And they've gone now, I'm afraid. And bloody good regiment as well. It was old school.
So what
none of that.
What years did you do Ireland? Because
76.
Right.
78.
Yeah, bad. Do you know what?
I lost a lot of friends in a pub over there.
Right.
So I won't elaborate any more on that, but you can go and see the names on the wall at the Arboretum.
Do you know?
Very sad. I'm glad we moved on from it, though.
Do you know what? Right. Just lately, I've seen what I would have called provos and loyalists. You know,
oh yeah, that's why you'd never, not in my lifetime.
No, those flags now,
tricolor and the Union flag
joining with each other, and it's like, I always
they'll be frightened of that now.
Yeah, they're going
they'll
fucking mental.
Shitless of that now.
They're going mental about it, right? Because
they've lost control. They have, because what it is, it's what's that saying? Your enemy is my enemy.
Yeah.
We're friends. I mean, they're scared shitless of all this coming together.
Not just that.
I'll give you an interesting thing. This is to make you chuckle. Went the air show at Blackpool at the weekend. Of course, the missus, it was bloody heaving. Anyway, it was okay, nice day out. Of course, as we're going back, she said, "Oh, I wonder if that big shop that begins with the P is round here."
Mm-hmm.
The missus, oh, bloody hell. So there's some coppers there. I was like, well, the old thing. ask a copper. Of course, when I got up to them, I thought, oh, it's Robocops. They're all tooled up, ready for disturbance. But this is a family bloody day out. And the dark blue van, TSG's there. So I go up to get a taser on and everything. But I got my little veteran's badge on, which I don't wear often, my regimental badge. Approach, excuse me, lads, and they all turned. And it was so, straight away, there was an atmosphere. Boof. I thought, well, it never used to be like that. Anyway, I asked myself,
I'm going to tell you something about people that have just left the army. They're now considered by the British Army as the most dangerous threat to us.
Well, to be honest with you, mate, there was a group of us talking, because I think I've been shit on. I left school, never had, 15, no qualifications, worked my bloody ass off. 15, 16 years ago, I paid my mortgage off. Nobody helped me. It's a 4-bed detached. I've got a double detached garage. I mean, I come from the lowest of the low, and I just fucking grafted, mate.
Hang on a second. Hang on, before you go there, right? The lowest of the low, right? And I've been thinking about this.
I shouldn't say that because I was conditioned to that.
Right.
That's
exactly.
I'm not. I know I'm not.
No.
Yeah, I could have gone two ways. I could have been a bad lad, but I think my upbringing brought me getting back to that fine 15 shillings at the age of 11, stood in the dock.
I'm starting to think
apples.
That the people that have suffered the most and had the least actually have the better values.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I went to school with a Woodbine packet and a hole in my shoe. My old man, until he got paid to get me some bloody cheap shoes from Woolies.
You know what?
Ladybird shoes.
But you had a better sense of morals and fabric and fibre and all the rest of it.
Oh, God, yeah. I did the odd bit, your testosterone when you're getting older and your teens, you start standing your ground gobbing off. I mean, I was soon brought down. But I look back and I thought, my mum and dad, I never had holidays. I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah, I didn't.
I just had to wait for my mum to come home from work and pissing down under the bloody little shelter.
Did you ever get that right? At the beginning, before the school holidays, people would say what they were going to be doing on there. What are you going to be doing? Oh, I'm going out on my BMX and I'm building dens. That was me, right?
Oh, yeah, we were out in the fields, getting the bales of hay, the farmer had mown all his hay, and we'd make a den. How the hell it never went out of blaze, I don't know.
Or fell on you, right? But
exactly, or fishing in the carpet.
But we were told that, I'm going to Spain. You are?
Oh, God, yeah.
Where's that? Right. And
I've been to Spain once.
My old kids, right? They had a house that would now be worth 400 grand, right? Now.
Yeah.
He lost it twice, by the way. I'll explain that another time, right? Because he put his business on it and worked hard, and he never, ever broke the rules. Now, if he'd been a dodgy cunt, he'd have done just great, but that's another story, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have the excess money to do anything with. We had a nice house. That was it, right?
Oh, no.
Now the people that had the council house, their parents both worked, and they had the money to have the nice trainers, the nice bag, the jacket.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of that. I looked like I was poor, right? But yeah, we come from there.
Yeah, maybe jumper had a hole in it, my shirt hanging out. We've got a school photo from
hand-me-downs.
The mid-60s, yeah.
So
looks all right, little skeleton, but I wasn't, but I did. An urchin, you know.
I had some really dodgy high techs, right? And these other kids had the best stuff, and they take the piss. They went, "Look at you."
Yeah.
And every now and again, I'd be a cunt, but I try not to. Every now and again, right? Just remember, mate, we own that shit, right?
Yeah.
Fuck off, right? I didn't do it very often, but I'd only do it when they pushed it too far. It's like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
The reason your old dear's got any money because they're paying fucking 30 quid a week in rent. Right, and the rest of the money can go just a piece of you ungrateful cunt.
When my eyes were open, I was 13. My old man had broke his femur on his motorbike going to work, and he was off a long time. And he sent me down to the rent office, and he had a rent book, the council officers. And I noticed it was in the wards where you paid wherever you lived. You know, you went to that particular counter. And I think, I can't remember, about £3.60 or something like that, 13 bob. And then there was these two other little kiosks, and I noticed the difference. The queues I was in, everybody was coughing and farting and smelt of bloody chips. The other two rows were all very posh. And hello, bump, gone in and out. We're queuing up like beggars. It was, and I thought, they were paying their rates to their houses. We were paying council rent, you know.
Yeah.
And I woke up to that. I mean, it's like that. I've got two old bangers. The missus got a bloody 15-year-old car. I've got a 12-year-old car. I've never been badges on bonnets.
Listen,
I can bodge him enough.
That thing out
That's
there,
what it does.
that thing was an 07. The van is a 14 plate, right?
Yeah.
And the bike is a 04.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? If you want to go around with your nose stuck up your ass, whatever.
But
I'd like to say I'm old school.
Beer
But we're going to shit in an handcart now, mate.
We are, and the differences will evaporate. But
when you get old boys like me, there was a group of us talking. We were going to go down, not publicly, not into that, just a group. Put your bits of tin in a bag. Here, shove them up your ass.
Mm.
You know, because I tell you what, I'm not a friggin' hero. None of the lads that we were in would like to be thought as heroes. It was our choice. I don't regret it. But you know, there were good lads in there. There was assholes, like even today. But it's now gone. Well, we're heading. It's going to be worse than 84, the book. And indeed. I mean, I'm a pensioner, mate, and that's all it cost me state. And a tiny, tiny bit of private pension, it's not worth a shit.
I don't have any pension of any sort, so I've got to work until I die now. Anyway, Meryl, I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm actually going to go. And my neighbour's been trying to call me, bless him. And
keep the faith, lad. I will. Keep doing what you're doing, son. I'd say for everyone, watch this space. I'll tell you what, summer's coming.
Yep, I believe.
But what's worrying is when you get the old boys talking.
What you mean, you mean the people that knew how to suffer and not suffer that bad?
Well, I think you go to your country's not being defended, and you're not.
I've lived in a Capri back in the day, right?
Yeah.
I've gone without. I have a net, right, and stuff like that, and it was normal, right? Yeah. So it's no problem. Anyway,
you had a Mars bar. You think it was great? All right, I'll let you get off, fella.
All right, buddy. Well, you take it steady, and I'll speak to you soon. And you lot, take it steady. I need to get off and do some other stuff. Really sorry. I hope you liked it. I hope it went all right. And we got some things talked about. When I was trying to educate that woman earlier on, I'm not against anything, but I truly believe that people need to understand the truth about things to make a decent decision about where we go and what we're doing. I am not against any particular group, but I am protective over my own. That's it. Anyway, take it steady. I'll see you soon.